And we're back with City Battle. Are you tired of rising costs, or maybe that lake effect snow is taking a toll on you? If Salt Lake is maybe taking a toll on you, then maybe the fresh start in Boise is exactly what you need. Today, we're gonna compare Salt Lake and Boise in trails, home prices, weather, everything that you could want. Put what's important to you in the comments down below, and in the next video when we do another comparison of cities, I'm gonna add what you put in the comments. So comment down below, I wanna see them. 5 things we're gonna go over is the amount of trails that Boise has, the amount of trails that Salt Lake has. We're gonna briefly touch on crime. I'm just gonna send you to different resources, okay? Then we're gonna go into housing prices, which has better average home prices, and daily expenses would be next, and utilities, groceries, and rent. Then we're gonna go into weather. Weather's pretty basic in Salt Lake and Boise. They basically comparable weather except for that lake effects. Okay, the key difference between Boise and Salt Lake is the proximity to trails that Boise has in comparison to Salt Lake. If you're in the right location in Boise, you can walk out the doorstep, and this is downtown. If you're right in the north end, you can walk out your doorstep and go right on the trail, 2 minutes flat. While Boise will have 210 or more trails in the near vicinity within 2 to 15 minutes, Salt Lake is gonna have over 300 miles of trails that require a bit more drive than Boise will. The question is, do you want trails at your doorstep like in Boise, or do you want to go to Salt Lake where you have probably epic adventures that require a bit more travel than you have in Boise? Not to say that Boise doesn't have the possibility of epic adventures with a little bit of drive, but that's the comparison we have. Okay, crime. I will say, I'm gonna direct you towards the crime stats for both. Look at them and compare and contrast for yourself. Really important. Compare Boise, compare Salt Lake, compare the crime stats between both. And that's gonna serve you well. For housing in 2024, Boise's average home prices, let's see, were a bit higher in Salt Lake's. Salt Lake's average home prices were $537,000, and Boise's average home prices were $473,000. Salt Lake's rent is not even that much higher. It's at $1,752, so $1,752 a month for the comparable home. And Boise's rent is at about $1,690, so that's what, a $62 difference? Comparable over 12 months, I guess that's significant. Is $62 really significant if you were thinking about your entire life being in one location? Okay, daily expenses for Boise and Salt Lake. We're gonna cover everything based on the national average. We're gonna cover housing costs, utilities, and groceries. Boise is actually above the national average for housing costs, and this is for the prices of housing. We went over housing already for Boise and Salt Lake, but just against the national average, Boise is at about 26% above the national average. Salt Lake is at 22% above the national average for the average home in America. For utilities, Boise actually beats a lot of cities on utilities because we just have very low costs, and property taxes are very low as well. Boise is 20% below the national average for utilities, and Salt Lake is 7% below average for utilities. And then we go into groceries. Groceries for, on average for Boise, and this is a comparison of like eggs, bread, everything that you'd normally buy. In Boise, it's gonna be about 4% lower for groceries than the national average, and in Salt Lake, it's gonna be about 4% above. And that's cents, really. In this case, Boise wins in affordability. If daily costs, like groceries and utilities, is your major concern, then Boise's probably pretty. Both Salt Lake and Boise, you're gonna get 4 seasons. So you're gonna get the snowy winters, the vibrant springs, the warm summers, and the crisp falls. For snowfall, which is probably what everyone really cares about, how much snow does Boise get? How much snow does Salt Lake get? On average, Boise gets about 20 inches a year. And on average, Salt Lake gets about 50 inches a year. So Boise gets more than half what Salt Lake gets in snow. Okay, ultimately, this is your choice between Boise and Salt Lake, and it's an emotional decision. What's more important to you? Boise offers cheaper living, quick access to trails. Salt Lake probably has an edge in outdoor activities at a cost of a little bit of drive, but the area is a little more expensive than Boise on average. especially in comparison to the National Guard. Don't forget to post down below in the comments what other criteria that you would be looking for when you're looking to move to Boise, to Salt Lake, any other city. And I'm gonna implement that into one of my videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.